the R-Truth return sparked a lot of discussion. This, of course, turned into a thing because, of course, some people immediately thought it was a work,
Yeah.
and I understand why you would think it was a work. But a lot immediately happened out of this, not just R-Truth making a big surprise and us getting the swerve to end the show, but the next 24 hours were very entertaining in itself. Um, the reveal that he was back, and then immediately they put out the merch with Ron Killings on it, not R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Mm-hmm.
great. Then he did the backstage segment where he called himself Ron Killings, and I was like, oh wait, he came back with his shoot name.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Um, so I believe the news story is that he had, you know, he had finished up his contract. He had
Yep.
talked to some other promoters for indie promotions. There was
Mm-hmm.
talk about him potentially going back to TNA,
Mm-hmm.
and um, then negotiations reopened with WWE, and he negotiated to come back with his real name, which is brilliant. That was a boss move
Yep.
to me. Um, if you
So
already
smart.
if you already know that they see you as expendable and you were getting ready to go back on indies, now you come back to WWE and you using your real name on TV. So if you get released again and once you're out on the indies again, now you have that cachet to work with. Um,
Brilliant.
great move on his part. But that also kind of tells you that not at work because
Also, yeah.
he came back in with leverage.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, and
And that's
the
essentially why he got released, because he had no leverage. So to come back with a bunch of leverage and to be able to be like, I'll do this, but you got to do me this. You got to do this for me, and it has to be beneficial for me post this, was so brilliant.
Yeah, great. When we talked about it last week, I was of the assumption that this was a TKO move. You know,
Mm-hmm.
TKO is cutting costs, and you know, you know, they probably had like a list of guys, and Triple H came in, and you know, this guy's expendable. Because my belief here, and we've heard enough stories to back this up, is that Vince had his people that he
Mm-hmm.
took care of in a company. He had people that he enjoyed working with. And so once he was gone, a lot of the Vince people, for lack of a better word, you know, I'm sure they probably don't want to be necessarily called Vince people, but a lot of people that he had good working relationships with, they ended up leaving or they ended up not as happy working with Triple H. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we've heard that more than once now. So I think my assumption was okay, Ron was a guy that Vince clearly liked, and he was a guy that he kept in the company. Once Vince was gone,
Mm-hmm.
Ron became expendable. The word that we got is that there was negotiation at one point when his
Mm-hmm.
contract was going to expire, and he was kind of given a cold shoulder. So his contract expired. He was ready to leave. And this is where, you know, the people that want to jump on wrestling media and go, ha ha ha, you all got worked. You all don't know anything. Media did not break the story that his contract expired. He did.
He did.
He put the notes app thing out to tell everybody he was finishing up with WWE. This isn't the
Yep.
story that Sean or PW Insider or Meltzer or any of those guys broke. They came afterwards and confirmed that his contract was up after he broke the story.
Right.
And then um, we got the news that Nick Khan was the one that reopened negotiations with him. And
Mm-hmm.
that Nick Khan was the guy that got the deal done to bring Ron back,
Yeah.
which slaps in the face of the press conference question that we got that you alluded to. Someone asked in the press conference after Money in the Bank. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was that asked.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked a question about Ron and Triple H in his fashion at this point when he's asked these kind of questions. He just kind of brazenly laughed and goes, "You like that? Keep enjoying the show," to imply that it was a work, but it clearly was not a work. This led to Ron's son um, responding and saying, "That's cap." not a work. Ron also responded to some stuff on Twitter to say no work.
No work.
Um, at some point, we've got to acknowledge that Triple H is kind of not good at this part of the job. He's he wants to embrace media in a way that Vince never did. And so he wants to keep bringing media in and going like, no, you guys are welcome. Come on in, and you have access to this, and ask whatever you want. And then when he gets a question that he doesn't really want to answer, he'll answer it in a very dishonest way.
Very smug.
Very smug and dishonest way. He still treats
Mhm.
media and fans like they're stupid sometimes.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I thought this was a moment where he didn't need to do that. It would have helped him immensely in this moment, because I thought this was a good moment for WWE. It would have helped him immensely to just say, "Hey, man, listen, the fans made it known that they wanted Ron back. We listened. We brought him back. You didn't even have to say how the negotiations went. You didn't have to say that he was let go. Nothing. You could have just said the fans asked for it.
We heard
brought him
you.
back.
That's it. He could have said, "We heard you," and that would have been it. We would have been like, "Great." You know what I mean? Like everybody would have accepted that answer, because that's all they really wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Phil, we don't even want to hear you break it down. We just want to hear you say, we acknowledge that you guys were upset that Ron was gone, and we fucking brought him back." It's that easy.
Exactly. And that's why the whole talk of it being a work doesn't work.
Right.
Because if it's a work, why would you draw attention to it?
Yeah, why are you showing it? Why are you coming on the back end to be like, "Look, we worked you guys. If you worked this, you don't have to tell us you worked this."
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. Haha, they got you. That's not how works work though.
Yeah. And what is the advantage to doing that way? Because
what's the advantage?
Because if it's a work, then it's to get us to a place in the storyline.
Yep.
The fans weren't mad at Cena. They were mad at the company for letting Ron go.
Right. Like they're not cheering like him being back to attack Cena. It's, if anything, they want him to come back and attack the company because they did this. Cena didn't do this.
I mean, they are cheering the Cena aspect of it, but my point was saying it's not a work. It's like, all right, if it would have been different if they built this as loser leaves town match.
Yeah, if that's the Saturday night main events match was I got your career, it would have hit way different. And then that Triple H thing would have worked.
Yes. But that's not what happened.
Mm-mm.
I think it's very interesting that and I think it was Meltzer that pointed this out.
Mm-hmm.
He said that in the entire time of the relationship between TKO and UFC, TKO has never came in and forced UFC to let somebody go. All the decisions to not re-sign somebody were decisions made by UFC. Mm-hmm. And he then very funnily, very humorously said, yeah, I'll just leave you with that to think about. And I was like, mm-hmm. And I, again, read between the lines there. It kind of feels like he's saying that this was a Triple H call to not bring Ryan back. And then Nick Khan then made the move to bring it back. Because in the report, even when they were trying to call and try and make overtures with Ron afterwards, he was not answering until Nick Khan called him.
Yeah, what I got from reading that, it felt like Nick Khan understood and Triple H didn't care. Like Triple H was like, yeah, they're mad, but they're always going to be mad. And Nick Khan was like, no, actually, I think this means more for something. Or at least he was like public perception. We at least want to curb that, you know?
Correct. Yeah, I saw how all of this went and I thought, boy, not dodging these allegations concerning the way you treat black talent anytime soon. This definitely looks away, and trying to cover it in a way that he did not look good. And it was such an unforced error. It's the same thing that we said before when he's answered questions this way. When he said, "I don't see color," again, unforced error. The question about the lawsuit, he gave us the. Well, I didn't read it, guys. I'm just
Haven't
trying to
read it.
focus on the positives. I don't know, man. Like it can't be this difficult to just give like a more media friendly question. I mean, answer. Yeah, this was not. This was
They
not. This was not good. It did not make Triple H look good.
they keep giving this guy keeps getting passes though, Phil, because just like you said, when the
Of course.
initial arch when it initially got released, everybody was like TKO. We need to take. Well, let's go to TKO off. This is all TKO's fault. But then the news comes out. It's like actually it wasn't really TKO's fault. It was kind of like Triple H was the one with the paper being like, "Oh, Ron Truth makes too much. Our Truth makes too much. He's gone out of there." You know.
And this is again, I've read between the lines. I don't know if you noticed it, but there were a few social media posts about Ron, and the TKO account was doing the clapping hands emoji under it.
Yep.
I think they're trying to say without saying this wasn't us, guys.
That's what I felt because on the Money in the Bank day, they were tweeting out, "What's up? Happy?" Like all kind of like, "We're happy our truth is back." And I was like, "That's pointed. There's a reason they're doing this."
Yeah.
They don't be tweeting about wrestling like this, Phil. Why all of a sudden are you guys out here doing all this? What's going on here?
Yes. That podcast when Coachman was saying that Triple H's days could be numbered as head of creative and his position. I'm starting to see more and more credence to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to speculate about what could end up being him losing his job and what have you, but it's definitely looking like there's a power struggle here. Like you can see it. Like you can see that there's more than one cook in the kitchen, and they're not always talking.
I think that there's some different visions going on. I think that Nick Khan looks at the company different than Triple H does, who looks at the company different than TKO does. Like there's going to be, I feel like Triple H probably went into this and has been moving through a lot of this like he was Teflon. Like there's not anything that he could do to lose his position. And I don't know if his position is as secure as being led on,